So I'm going live after quite a bit being away. Um, but I wanted to go ahead and create live and pretty much talk about the reason or what's my thought, what's going on, and I want to go ahead and kind of almost express it in a digital format so I could be able to go ahead and share it. Because what I've realized what's going on with me is that I have all this information, but I never find the perfect time. Like it's never the perfect time. So therefore, I have to go ahead and create some kind of action. And my action is creating this YouTube and going live on this YouTube page. This page is is for me to be able to go ahead and start sharing my information, my thoughts, my what I gotta go ahead and do. And honestly thinking of creating this almost of a way for me to be able to go ahead and make sure I accomplish what I need to go ahead and accomplish, an accountability resource. So that's the reason why I'm going to go ahead and start creating these videos. But what I really want to go ahead and talk about right now is pretty much where I'm at versus where I was at a couple of months ago. So one thing I want to go ahead and share is that my sleeping schedule has been very involved in me developing this whole process of me developing this whole thought process, this whole structure that I currently have. So for the past 6 months, I've been waking up super early. Um, the reason why is because I've been trying to go work out and trying to stay in shape and actually try to do day trading. And it's almost like a form for me to be able to go ahead and have discipline. So that's the reason why I decided to go ahead and start waking up at 3 in the morning, 3:30 to be exact. So after that, I was doing what I needed to go ahead and do. If I was day trading pre-market, then I would day trade pre-market. But certain times I wasn't even day trading pre-market. What I was doing is pretty much getting up and starting working out, and that's to be able to go ahead and establish this. But give me a second. I'm sorry, Papa. It's okay. It does. So I could be able to go ahead and establish my discipline. So during that time, it was my trying. The focus for my time was to be able to go ahead and make sure I became a better person, whether that was knowledge, understanding, reading books, whatnot, and that has helped me tremendously. So I was going to the gym every single day and listening to my books to be able to go ahead and improve myself and to try to figure out the next stage of where I was going. AI is not really, I mean, it's new, but it's not new in the back end as far as development world. So therefore, I knew that AI was going to be um, uh, very impactful in how the business moves forward. And I wanted to go ahead and kind of try to understand and clear my mind and to try to figure that out. By me saying clear my mind, the last thing that happened during those 6 months is pretty much clear my mind. What I was doing is I was trying to do things. I created this channel. Well, actually, I created this channel a while back, but I started creating a challenge so I could go ahead and go every day online so I could be able to go ahead and start sharing my thoughts and whatnot. And that was for me to be able to go ahead and make sure that I can be able to go ahead and start communicating. And it was just a development phase. So I was trying to do certain things to be able to go ahead and improve myself at a certain level that I needed to be in order for me to be able to go ahead and take my next stage. And I've done that before. Prior to this whole journey, I decided to go ahead and kind of close myself and focus on things that I didn't like. For example, I was believe it or not, I was forcing myself to be able to read a book. And what I pushed myself to do is go ahead and read a book a single week. For one, it allowed me to be able to go ahead and pick and choose what books I wanted to go ahead and read because it was more important for me to be able to go ahead and maintain that 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 consistency more than the type of book that I was reading. So it allowed me to be able to go ahead and gradually increase my level of learning, and I was able to go ahead and really start pushing that. So now instead of well, and then once I was able to go ahead and kind of be successful in that and really enjoy reading, and then I started pushing myself a book a month, so that allowed me to be able to go ahead and open different kinds of books because they were a lot more in depth and whatnot. So I was able to go ahead and scale. Well, gradually increase my tolerance in reading books, but I mean, I now enjoy it. So I think doing little things like that is very helpful to be able to go ahead and gradually improve or um, adapt that new talent, that new skill that you need to be able to go ahead and take yourself to the next level. So for the past 6 months, I was doing certain things as such. I think I started some Instagram. I started posting on Instagram. I created a Instagram page just for like without my face to try to go ahead and kind of test the waters and just throwing things. Nothing was really. Um, my goal was to educate myself through that whole process and not necessarily um, see a success. Just trying to see if I was good at one. I did the same thing with LinkedIn. I was just trying to push myself. I started with actually creating blogs every single day, and that kind of helped out. But essentially now we're in the next stage, and for me now is to be able to go ahead and start putting myself out there, and now that I've went through the 6 months and trying to trial and learn what I wanted to go ahead and learn and educate myself in the sense of whatever phase I wanted to go ahead and educate myself, especially AI. I'm able to go ahead and strategize a little bit better. So now with this next phase is me pretty much all this thoughts or all this um, services or ideas that I had in my mind through that time and me testing them. Now it's time for me to be able to go ahead and launch them. And essentially, I don't want to go ahead and serve. I mean, share any of those ideas here in this video. My my whole reasoning. Let me go ahead and read the title of this video, if I could recall. If Let me see. I think if I click edit, So what are my next steps? So essentially, so it's been pretty much close to 6 months for me to be 6 months since I actually took in a client, and probably longer than that. And the reason why is because of that reason. I knew that I was going to go ahead and take this time to be able to try to figure out what was working and what was not. Essentially, with me, my services, there was a lot of things that were not to the part that I really intentionally liked. Essentially, the whole business model of of the services wasn't really a business model that I could be able to go ahead and see value in it in the long term. Um, Value in me or my client. So therefore, I changed my business model. Now I'm able to go ahead and offer more of a better. I don't want to call it better business model, but a business model that takes in account of the future of both of our relationships much more better, in a sense. I'm not going to go ahead and really share that, but yeah, I don't even know why. If I'm not going to share that information, then I just don't want this video to really be more complicated and take away from my journey in the past 6 months and what are my next steps and why whatnot. So that's where I really want to go ahead and focus my attention on this video. So for the past 6 months, I haven't taken any clients, and the clients that I've had, I mean, try to maintain them, and that's the whole journey. And essentially because I wanted to go ahead and try to understand how to be able to go ahead and be in a business model that I was much more happier, much more uh, aligned with what I wanted to go ahead and do um, every day. So um, that's where we at. As far as service, I probably want to go ahead and share that I'm going to be a lot more. Uh, that that that's going to probably be the smaller phase, the smaller portion of what I do. Um, Now, mainly for myself, I think I'm going to go ahead and prioritize just teaching. I just see so much, of course, opportunity, but in a sense, so much lack of knowledge for the development or the knowledge of how to be able to even present or set up a proper business process. It's very mind blowing that information is not really known out there. So I want to go ahead and make sure I can be able to go ahead and provide my service for not just a specific niche of individuals, but I want to make sure I could be able to go ahead and provide a product that I can be able to provide for a larger, I guess, larger group of audience. Um, and that's where one of my products is going to be as far as being available to that group of people in the sense that for any kind of consultation, any kind of business process. It's just because right now there's just the knowledge is so much more helpful and can save so much more time and money in the future if the knowledge was presented from the start. That's where I'm going to go ahead and start focusing on. It's just many businesses are essentially just looking for, they have a problem and they're looking for a business, a solution that's already created for that business. So it's very, very difficult. They have a problem. This problem is what X, Y, and Z, but they're looking for something like a switch or quick solution to solve this problem. But what they don't realize is that this problem, that's part of the business, the growth of the business. If you're able to go ahead and solve that problem efficiently, you're dominating your marketplace. You're dominating your niche. So therefore, if a service or a solution is already providing the marketplace to solve that problem, don't you think your competitors will also take advantage of that solution? So therefore, that's where the trick is in business, is to be able to go ahead and try to understand the business problem, find a solution for that problem. Don't sit around, wait for that solution to be able to be presented in the marketplace. That's where AI comes in. AI right now is such a powerful tool, but it's currently just a feature sold to the business public. And instead of businesses actually using, or business owners actually using AI as a tool to be able to go ahead and help them increase their productivity, their efficiency within their business, it's just mind blowing that AI is just being a feature sold to the consumer instead of it being a tool available to be used to improve your life, to improve your business, to improve the way the way things are managed. And that's just something I want to go ahead and make sure I start sharing and start introducing that. And this information doesn't require um, much. This information is just very simple. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and start sharing, creating videos, sharing this information. It's just the way. Just imagine if you're able to go ahead and pivot from the beginning, from the start, instead of trying to pivot when the problem or those problems are presented. That's just so much more powerful. So just imagine Amazon. Yes, Amazon right now, matter of fact, anyone could be able to go ahead and grab AI and create a software that's able to go ahead and be in Amazon. But are you able to go ahead and create the processes in the back end that's able to go ahead and create that system efficiently, to manage that system efficiently? AI, as good as it is not able to go ahead and build those processes. AI is able to go ahead and help with efficiency. You're able to go ahead and put a couple of AI bots together and create a seamless process. But now the question is, can you be able to go ahead and put a couple of bots together and create a seamless process that's able to go ahead and improve your business? Really not. Most of the time, most businesses are just waiting for that solution to be provided in the marketplace, and they're just waiting, and they're just looking at different softwares, and they're like, oh, I know this problem could be solved. Yes, it can be solved, but it requires knowledge and skills to learn how to solve that problem. Once you solve that problem, then you become a niche or your market leader. um, that's going to go ahead and completely change. It's just going to be that little switch. Look, in the beginning, whenever I started this whole process, I created an Instagram video, and I shared that apps were going to be super important. So applications were going to be super important, and this was pre-COVID. And as soon as COVID hit, all the businesses were looking for applications to be created. I'm not too sure if people even remember this. That HEB used to not have an application, so now HEB has an application. But during COVID, HEB did not have an application, and they were relying on third-party vendors to be able to go ahead and provide that service for the application. That's why HEB was able to go ahead and team up with Uber and all that to be able to go ahead and take advantage of that application feature in order for them to be able to go ahead and stay in line with the new times in having an application. So they didn't have an application. So what they dumped a whole bunch of resources to be able to make sure they were able to go ahead and create an application as quickly as possible. It wasn't even about 6 months and applications were already popping up, but they were still buggy. They were not as efficient as what they are now. Now everyone could be able to go ahead and any retail market, any retailer could go ahead and grab an application that is very similar to Walmart, to Home Depot, all those features, all that you could be able to go ahead and create in for your business. But are businesses taking advantage of that? No, because that to them that's just a different mind. How are they going to be able to go ahead and take advantage of that feature? So that's where we're at right now. Businesses, all this new technology that could be able to go ahead and completely advance their business are available, but they're not able to go ahead and take advantage of it. Why? Because they don't have the process, they don't have the structure, they don't have the system to be able to go ahead and take advantage of all this technology that's advancement. Look, I really do think that marketing is pretty much done. The marketing era is over. That we don't have a marketing era anymore. We're walking into an efficiency era where a business is as efficient as possible as a competitor, but they could be able to produce the same product and charge the same amount. That business is going to go ahead and win. Why? Because it costs them less to produce the same product. So if I go to a restaurant and I order, and this is hypothetically, this is something in the future. If I order on a restaurant where there's a tablet, and as soon as I sit down, there's a tablet, and I order my meal. As soon as I order my meal, a bot comes in and lands that plate in that bot. Lands that plate in my table. The cost to create that dish was much less because they used AI or bots or whatnot versus somebody that has to take my order, walk back, drop that in, type that in, and give it to someone else and do all that information, all that. The amount of time that it takes, and we're not even talking about labor, we're talking about just the time that it takes to be able to go ahead and manage that information or just submit that information. It's much more than the cost, So businesses are going to go ahead and what's going to determine a successful business is going to be a business that could be able to go ahead and produce the same end product much more efficient. And there's a lot of businesses that are not able to go ahead and take advantage of none of this technology just because they don't have the processes. Or the platform or the server or the system that they could be able to go ahead and introduce these efficiencies. So they're waiting for a service to be provided with that, and that's just delay. That's just delay. That's just going to be try to provide a service, product, or application with the same business plan that someone else has. Everyone's going to be like, well, why should I switch if there's nothing for me to switch? So it's for whoever gets the market first, pretty much wins the majority of the crowd, and everyone else has to try to figure out how they could be able to go ahead and switch before that initial service or product is able to go ahead and adapt that feature. But that's just thoughts. I'm going to go ahead and finish this stream. It was great just sitting here and talking. Some of this information I'll probably go ahead and create into shorts and start this next phase. So I'm really excited about this next phase, and hopefully this was helpful. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.